Hello. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of April 2019, and the weather forecast in Lagos is 33 degrees, partly cloudy this day. Glad today's weather is cool and friendly, but remember to stay hydrated as always. My name is Felicity Ezewuike, and this is Off the Press. With me this morning to discuss major headlines in today's dailies is a public affairs analyst, Tobosun Akeju. Akeju, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
How did you see the weather today? Was it friendly to you?
I think it's gotten better, not as hot as it was like last week or 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah, the heat was excruciating.
it was crazy. At some point, we were almost at like 37, 38 degrees centigrade. That was really, really hot. But this morning, I think we're at about 28, so we're good.
Yeah, but we still have to contend with the flooding that comes with it
Oh, well.
and the smelly waters.
Well, that will be for the government to provide the proper infrastructure for us to be able to cope with some of these teething issues. Yeah.
Sure. All right, let's take a look at the papers this morning, with your help, of course. We have This Day newspaper, we have The Punch, we have The Nation, we have Vanguard, and we have a bit of sports, so try and see how much of this we can take. All right, This Day newspaper has the screamer here, Buhari silent as CCT decides on Northern's fate on Thursday. That's it on your screen right now. Buhari silent as CCT decides on Northern's fate on Thursday. Just above it, you have PDP warns INEC over presidential election materials. It has two riders. Says failure to obey court order may cause crisis. We also have we won't engage in media war, replies commission. At the very top of the paper, on your screen, meters, electricity consumers to pay through service charge. IG to hold area commanders, DPOs responsible for extrajudicial killings. Those are some of it. Secret ballots, something about that at the bottom of the paper. You have Shatima backs the one and Dume Group insists on secret ballot. What's it about? I'm guessing it has to do with the Senate presidency and the House of Representative Speaker. We'll see about that. And then on the back of the paper, we have Tuesday with Reuben Abati. And today, his talk is on the people's revolt in Algeria and Sudan. And of course, the cherry news of the return of Tiger Woods. That's a lovely one. Everybody's celebrating. All right, let's get to your thoughts on some of these headlines quickly.
I'll start from the top. Meters, electricity consumers. I think that we're still yet to get the disco model. And it's a bit unfortunate that it appears that the government has gone into a process that they were not prepared for, because what that news is talking about is who is to pay for the meter that will be given to electricity consumers. At first, there was the insinuation that it was going to be free. The discos now are saying that you're either going to pay for it upfront or you're going to have to pay for it as like a service charge with your bill. I think that we need to be clear about what we want to do. And so that the power sector in Nigeria is a very, very troubled space. And I think that something as small as where the cost of the meter is going to come from is it's too small to be an issue that we'll be even dealing with at this point in time. So it's quite unfortunate, but the jury is out on who is supposed to share that cost. But whatever happens, I think that as long as you're consuming a service, the recovery of a sunk cost of something like a meter they will always find a way to recover it. And I think that the NERC, the discos should get their act together and let's move to bigger things than issues like who will pay for meters.
Okay, you want to have a quick thought on the screamer?
Worry being silent about Onoge's issue, I think that is expected. If he makes a comment about it, then we'll go back to the issue of him meddling with the judicial process. I think that the NJC make their recommendation already. We've seen the gaps. Onoge, again, due to technicalities, he's saying confession is not, the same as accepting guilt or anything. But having said that, I think they should allow the law to take its natural course. on Onoge, and I don't think Buhari needs to. Buhari is not even meant to interfere
in the matter.
Yes, in that issue. Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll go to the Punch newspaper now. We have the Federal Government Probe Panel recommends NHIS boss sacking, board's dissolution. That's it on your screen. And then at the very top of the paper, we have some private varsities aiding academic corruption. This is according to JAM Registrar. You find details of that on page 13. Still on the Punch, we have headsmen kill 16 in Nasarawa during naming. 67 Taraba residents kidnapped. And then the Onoge's trial is also captured on this day. I will advise Buhari on fuel subsidy, says Akeju. You find details of that story on page 29. And at the very bottom of the paper, we have a couple of interesting headlines. We have any policeman found guilty of power abuse will be dismissed. That's IG. 2 arrested for beheading 2 killing 3 in Lagos. And then we have Ondo welder gets life sentence for raping teenager. That's something for you. And then this on the Punch. And then you have a jealous Bielsa lover shoots girlfriend to death for cheating. You hear stories like that and you wonder what's going on with the world. And then on the back page of the Punch newspaper, we have Ogun State's mismanaged advantage. Let me get your thoughts on which of them first.
I think first, the 2 will be the issue of fuel subsidy and the NHIS. And I picked the 2 because there's a connecting line there. The connecting line is sometimes we seem not to have a proper understanding of our problems. First of all, the fuel subsidy. Kachuku saying that you have to think through the removal of fuel subsidy properly is actually very right. Last week, there seemed to have been a bit of panic purchase just because of one thing. The IMF advised in his report that we should remove subsidy, that Nigeria should remove subsidy. And the minister, the acting or, Minister of Finance did say that, we're going to consider, the proposal from the IMF, and immediately there was shock in the system.
Yes, there's been a flurry of reaction.
Almost immediately. So why have we become so susceptible to something as small as that in our system? It's because we do not have a proper mass transit infrastructure. So if you remove subsidy today, the impact is going to be greatly felt because there's no cushion effect. We do not have an alternative to moving, and so for subsidy to be removed, it has to be even a phase. A lot of things has to be done. We have to work towards producing our own for locally by refinery and become a little insulated from prices of petroleum products in the international market. We cannot be completely insulated. I mean, Dangote is not going to choose to sell petroleum products to Nigeria because it's a Nigerian company when it can make more money selling to a neighboring country like Ghana or Togo. But it allows a bit of comfort to come. However, the most important thing is that we need a robust mass transit system. Half the time, I drive down to VI sometimes from, the Chevron side of town, sometimes 40 minutes. Look, you will count up to 50 cars in the space of 5-10 minutes. There are only 1 or 2 occupants there. Half of us are driving to our office to go and park that car and pick it up again at close of business to drive home. We do not have any business driving those cars to work, so to speak. We're supposed to be using mass transit. If you look at cities like New York, like London, you use the train. It's more expensive to use your car. You pay for congestion period, not because they're trying to punish you, but because there's an alternative to use so that we do not stretch our infrastructure. That has to be there before a successful removal of fuel subsidy. So it's right. The second one is the NHIS. When you look at the issue there, it appears that the boss, the NHIS boss, was not even very clear. If you look at the recommendation of the FG probe and the justification they gave for some of those recommendations, something that kept repeating itself in their justification is that it appears the NIH boss did not know its limit, did not know the rules of the civil service area. And that becomes a problem because you're asking, are those rules outdated? Are people who take government appointments not trained about those rules? Do they know who they report to? Do they know who is in control? The same thing happens to the board. The board the pro panel is asking for the dissolution of the board because they feel that the board has, overstepped its own jurisdiction. So that looks like a systemic problem because, I would not assume that both the NHIS boss and the board meant very bad. It appears both of them did not know this is what we can do and this is what we can do, So I think that some of these issues where we seem to sometimes treat the symptoms. We actually will need to go to the underlying issues and say there has to be a procedure, there has to be an onboarding process, for government officials. And when you come and you take up a government appointment, you have to be trained, no matter how high up you are, about the things you can do and the things you can do, so that you also will be very effective, to deliver, the public service that you've been appointed to deliver.
All right, let's just quickly mention the picture on the front page, the smoke in the landmark Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. It was an issue right here in Nigeria as well. We have a situation at the market now. It's actually a breaking story. We don't have details of that, and the papers haven't captured it yet, but you might want to check that one out in Lagos. And we have these 2 arrested for beheading 2 and killing 3 in Lagos. I guess that's the cold situation that we have. All right, we move on to the Nation newspaper, where we have Ononge. I didn't confess to hiding my bank account. That's the screamer on the front page. It has 2 writers, actually. Prosecution insists suspended CJN guilty. And then judgment on Thursday. We go to the very top of the paper. We have troops kill 27 Boko Haram terrorists. Fayose, how I took delivery of $1.2 billion cash. That's interesting. Headsmen kill 18 in Ekiti, Nasarawa. And then you have a government cash call exit payment hits $1.5 billion. A bit of business for you there. Flip to page 12 for details of that. On the back page of The Nation, we have Louis Odion on the bottom line, and today he's looking at regulating Anambra's obituary economy. Anambra's obituary economy. Wow. Soware's affirmative gesture, and you have Hardball also on the back page of The Nation newspaper. I want to pick your brain about this one. I didn't mention it earlier, but it's at the very bottom of the paper. It says, alleged 7 billion fraud. EFCC arrests businessman for duping 20,700 investors. What do you make of that in this very harsh economy?
It's a sad one. And I think that, again, it sometimes calls question how we do business and, the moral code of a society. Sometimes also our attention to detail. It is also nice to see that the EFCC is not only probing politically motivated and related financial allegations and issues. It's nice to see, because when you look at that amount of money, this 20,700 people will probably in the nearest future have investment trust issues. And when we are not, as a people, unable to get people to invest, it has its own impact on our financial system. So, it's a good one. I hope that the EFCC will be able to see, the issue to a very logical conclusion, so that, because things like that also allows to build trust in the system, that you are sure that if someone should swindle you of your hard-earned money, there's a system in place for redress of issues like that.
Okay, what other headlines you want to touch on here before we move on to the next paper?
Again, back to it again. I just mentioned again that you see the plain technicalities there. He did say that he didn't declare his bank account, but he wasn't hiding them. He's actually, if you look at, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I know about law, you're not guilty until a court of proper jurisdiction said you are guilty. So until maybe Thursday, we will know if the Chief Justice of Nigeria is guilty or not. So,
All right, we'll move on to the Vanguard newspaper. We have Senate presidency. Borno government orders split over Lawan Ndume. Has a rider. Governorship team sticks with Lawan. Elders prefer Ndume. That's it on your front page. And then you have this pictorial reportage there. From left, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele and the money people, basically, on the front page of the paper. That's it on your screen. And then we're still searching for remaining Chibok school girls, and that's COAS. You find details of that on page 14. The anniversary was on Sunday, and people are still bringing up the issue. They're still not here, so keep talking about it.
The Chibok girls story, it's very, very sad one. 5 years now, and I'm sorry, I can't even think of what they've become. If you've not seen someone in 5 years.
Yeah, I had a guest here who said we shouldn't be talking about Chibok girls. He's talking about Chibok women, because some of them will be in their 20s now.
I agree. I mean, they are not Chibok women. rightly so. I don't know how much is also being done even for the family of the girls, women now, to bring them. And it also comes to show us as a country the importance of quick response. I think that if there was a better response to this issue, immediately it happened, perhaps the fate of these women would have been different today. I think that 5 years down the line, there have been prisoners of war who have stayed longer than that. But when you look at the number of Chibok girls, I think it's best to just leave that story. It's a very sad one, I must say.
Okay, let me just capture a little more of the headlines. This one says, insecurity, Ambode lament, says Lagos police overstretched, and alleged debt, ex-minister loses bid to stop bank from seizing property. And then you have Oyo governorship tussle, court orders ANEC to allow Adelabu APC inspect materials. Those are some of the stories here. At the top of the Vanguard newspaper, you have extrajudicial killings, police opt for stun guns. That's something of interest. I find details on page 5. Why we won't remove fuel subsidy. We talked about that a bit. And then a lot of economic stories on the front page at the very top. And then you have NNPC reduces joint venture cash indebtedness to $3.5 billion. On the back of the paper, we have sports. We'll just hold on to that for a bit while we look at some of these headlines. So aside from the Chibok girl story, what else sticks out to you?
The issue of the police, the extrajudicial, and what Governor Ambode have said about them. First of all, I think that, again, we are treating the symptoms. You take away guns, you take away AK-47 and rifles and double barrels and single barrel guns, and then you give them stun guns. If you do not change the mindset, if you do not change the approach to policing, we're going to still have the same problem. So someone is going to use a stun gun on someone that's passed out. And because the stun gun is supposed to demobilize someone, it's not supposed to kill. But because the mind has not been, programmed to proper policing, it's going to use the stun gun wrong. So I don't think the problem is, yes, we should change the type of gun. I cringe most of the time, when I see, policemen doing, what I would call community policing kind of activities, and they are carrying AK-47. That's a semi-automatic
Over the weekend,
rifle.
we've had a series of stories of them killing innocent people.
It's very sad. So I think that there needs to be a lot of training and retraining of the police. There has to be a rework of that whole system for us to get it right. It's not about changing the type of guns or the type of party, and then going to the number of police that we have. I think Lagos is even kind of doing better with the kind of resources they've deployed to police. How many states in Nigeria do you go to, and then you find at every almost 5 kilometers, or every junction, a police van or a police car stationed there? Things like that help increase response time. Yes, there's still more to do. So if Lagos State, who seems to be doing better, is even saying that we are on the police, then we need, there has to be a system overall, and it starts with retraining. It starts also with making the job attractive. I say to people that the respect that we have, or that a lot of people in the world today have for the U.S. Army did not come from the interaction we have with the U.S. Army. It's because the U.S. Army was structured as a brand. So you sell the U.S. Army to different stakeholders, to those people who will be interested in joining the U.S. Army. How is the Nigerian police being sold to the average Nigerian? So it seems like we're just pushing, those who just want to do it, not really people who are passionate about it. Because, when I was growing up, there were some of my friends, maybe I wasn't, that were, interested in, force-related jobs, So I think there has to be a lot of systemic overall to make the job more attractive, more funding for it, and then more training to make people do their job properly.
I have to say thank you very much for coming in to Tobosun. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going on a short break, and when we come back, we continue with Off the Press. We have sports right up next. Good to know you're still with us. It's time for sports and Off the Press, and I have Samson Oloyede with me. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. All right, complete sports is what we have, and then we'll take a look at the back page of the Vanguard. We'll start with complete sports first. This one says Balogun eyes first EPL game in 2019, and then Mikel unsure of Borough future. Burundi, that's ahead of 2019 AFCON. Burundi bank on local coach to shock Eagles. Rule out hiring foreigner at $600,000 for preparation. That's something for you on the front page. And then Barcelona versus Manchester United today at 8 p.m. And it's about anything is possible. Fearless Ayaz. Mourinho wants Juve to be wary of the Dutch side. That's another one on the front page of the complete sports. And of course, the usual transfer stories on the back page. That's Barca to return for William. That's something for you to see. United want £130 million for star midfielder. All right, which of these are like the charmer for today?
Well, anything is possible, that's Barcelona against Manchester United. Definitely United would, have the belief. They did the same thing during the round of 16 against Paris Saint-Germain. They were even 2 goals down, lost at home 2 goals and did what was virtually impossible, getting a 3-1 win to qualify for this stage. Now that 1 goal down, it's possible, but this is Barcelona, not PSG, and it's no camp, not, the Parc des Princes. So, it's going to be difficult for United, but they have to go into the game with belief. I don't think they would qualify. I think they would lose tonight, but it's definitely worth trying, when they have to believe.
Fans will not find that funny with you saying it.
I'm sure even the most optimistic United fan is a bit skeptical as regards their chances of qualifying. At least qualifying, maybe not the result now, but qualifying, Okay. But it's yet to be seen. That's why upsets are in the game. United can also pull it off once again, and if they do that, it's going to be a very remarkable one once again. Gunners go forth. That's another interesting one. Yesterday against Watford, the performance wasn't impressive. The goal was probably a gift from Ben Foster's hauler, but they will take it at this stage, of the season, especially when Chelsea lost over the weekend. So it's the battle for top 4, and with Tottenham seemingly, in good position, you feel that it's going to go down the wire between Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United. So they will definitely go for this. And Balogun Eye's first EPL game in 2019, it's a bit worrisome for Nigeria because that's one of the best centre-backs we have in the Super Eagles at this moment, a first-team player, and it's finding it difficult to break into Brighton's first 11. This is not a top, 6 or top 10 club. This is a club battling relegation, 17th on the EPL log. And if a player like Balogun is finding it difficult to get playing time, finding it difficult to even, get minutes, it's worrisome for us going into the AFCON, which is a major tournament. We want our best players to be in good form as well as fitness, health-wise. So it's not good for Balogun at this stage.
Okay, it is Madrid to offer £52 million.
For Bill, yeah. Especially during Zidane's last season, in his first stint as manager for Real Madrid, there were speculations about rifts between he and Bill was to leave. Now Zidane is back for a second stint. You get the feeling that one way or the other, it's either both men have to find, common ground to work, or Bill has to go. And I know Real Madrid will definitely overhaul the team this summer. I won't be shocked if Gareth Bale is one of the players leaving.
Okay, I know we're out of time, but let's just take one headline from the Vanguard Sports. Which of these Eagles to pocket 1.6 billion if they win 2019 AFCON? Barca boost. Messi will play against Man United. And then court reorder arrest of Okocha.
Well, the court reordering the arrest of Okocha is on the basis of tax evasion or alleged tax evasion and failure to, bring about his income earnings. I think it's just a bit of miscommunication there. He has to appear in court to defend himself. He has failed to appear on several occasions, and that's why, there was a bench warrant for his arrest. I just hope that he settles that as quickly as possible.
All right, thank you very much, Samson, for coming on the program. And that's it on Off the Press this morning. Thank you for joining us. Please go to your vendor and go read details of some of these stories. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. Have a lovely day.